You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. The Chicago Bulls apparently make a draft promise to guard Devin Carter. Guard? We'll talk a little bit about that today. Also, the Thunder could be interested in Patrick Williams if the Chicago Bulls do make him available in talks. And GM Marc Eversley, who we thought may be leaving somewhere to take a different job, actually gets a contract extension per Darnell Mayberry. We're going to talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And let's get right into it. Pat, this one came out about midday today. Ricky O'Donnell tweeting out that he has heard that the Bulls could have possibly given a draft promise to guard Devin Carter. He did say he's not had time to substantiate this rumor yet, so we're going to treat it as a rumor right now. But other outlets have picked it up. It was on the Ringer initially as well. So Devin Carter, yeah, take that for what you will. Devin Carter, a guard, 6'3" guard with I think a 6'6" wingspan, which definitely fits into the AK mold and mindset there. What do you make of the Bulls potentially making a draft day promise to Devin Carter?
I get it. I don't know, man. Like, I shout out to that one dude that literally during the offseason was like, ain't no news today, bro. I don't know what y'all want me to write about. Ain't no news today. I wish I knew who that was. We need to go back and find that article. That was phenomenal, bro. He literally wrote a Bears article and said, there's no news today. I don't know what I'm really looking for, bro. Stop Googling. But what I will say is this. I do like Devin Carter. I think that the thing about Devin Carter that intrigues me is that, and I guess you can use younger in the sense of this, he's a 3-year guy, but a younger, to me, a little, I guess not really too much smaller, but a little younger version of what you already have in Ayo Dosunmu. Really good perimeter defender. I think he really gets after defenders, makes life very, very difficult for ball handlers. Also can go down and be a lethal 3-point shooter on the other end. And again, like we talked about with Dalton Connect, somebody who actually shoots shots. Yeah, I mean, like this is not looking at percentages and trying to extrapolate out. This is a guy that was taking, I believe, 14 shots a game last season. 14 shots a game, field goal attempts, and he was taking almost 7 3-pointers per game last season and was knocking them down at a 37% clip, knocking down from the field at a 47% clip overall. That's what you want to see. This guy gets after it defensively. He's actually out there taking shots. He's knocking them down. I wouldn't be mad at Devin Carter. It doesn't surprise me that the Bulls would make a promise to a guard because he's probably going to play center here. Like might as well just prepare.
He is almost 6'3" with I had to correct myself, 6'8" wingspan.
Oh, that's very different. You said, what'd you say, 6'5" wingspan? I was like, I don't know if that's Captain Carney. 6'8" is Captain Carney.
Yeah,
there's some fingertips touching on that one, but
fingertips. But the thing with him is a lockdown point of attack defender, has tremendous offensive upside, making almost 40% of his 3-point shots last season, which is a really good step up for him as well. 22 years old, so one of the older players kind of taken in this first round when you look at all the 18 and 19-year-olds in this draft. But I think the part of this conversation that we need to have is that if the Bulls did make a promise to Devin Carter at number 11, which we know our needs are centers in this draft, do you think this means that the Bulls may be acquiring another pick, maybe in the Zach LaVine trade? Maybe we heard last week that the Bulls could be looking to move Alex Caruso for a draft pick, that the Houston Rockets at number 3 could be interested. Do you think that could signify that type of thing? Because right now, the Bulls, as far as centers on the roster, have Nikola Vucevic, and that's it, other than Adama Sanogo on a 2-way contract.
Yeah, I think that could be something where you're still holding on to. See, what makes that tough, though? Well, I guess not really, right? Because the trade scenario that I came up with where you make a trade with Charlotte allows you to kind of keep that 11th overall pick, because in that scenario, Charlotte is looking for more of a veteran presence to add down there. They got 3 young players, right? So if you were going to try and trade up or add picks in this draft, and you're looking for teams that maybe aren't in a situation where they want to go out and get a young player in this draft, Charlotte's a team, Houston's a team. Now with Houston, I think Houston probably moves the third overall pick if you send them Alex Caruso, but you'd probably have to send them 11 with it. I would think.
Well, the thing that came out is that the Houston Rockets, because they're prioritizing veteran presence, and they aren't enamored with the talent pool at number 3, could be willing to give up the number 3 for Caruso, maybe straight up, maybe throw in a future heavily protected first, in that. But
I mean, I think this is the draft where everybody, like, it's like the Portland pick is just getting sprinkled in there, right?
The Portland pick could do it.
Like that's the draft. This is the draft to me that you do this in, right? Like you're just like, take the Portland pick, bro. Like they're not making the playoffs no time soon. It's gonna be a second round pick. You're getting Alex Caruso, you're getting a second. And I think people listen. There were teams last year that we heard that valued Alex Caruso as a first round pick. We're willing to give that up. So it's not surprising to hear that if you don't believe in the players in this draft, you could see that. If you're able to move Alex Caruso and hold on to that 11th pick, I'd be fine with that. But then when are you addressing center? Are you addressing center with the higher pick? Or are you addressing center with the lower pick? Because I like Devin Carter, but he kind of feels like he's a end of the lottery, outside the lottery type of player.
Yeah, I mean, Devin Carter is one of the players that has the most upside of any player in this draft, as far as like just looking at especially at the guard position. So, I mean, I think what do the AK has to have something up his sleeve.
Here's the thing. Now, look, the Bulls suck. So whoever they take at 11, it is what it is. But I can see him going, like if the draft just went and the Bulls don't make any trades, blah, blah, blah. I feel like he's in Dalen Terry range. I feel like that's where you would see him come off of the board more than likely. And now, probably better player than Dalen Terry, so I wouldn't be mad if we took him at 11. But do you feel like maybe that's a reach? That's too high? It also depends on what you address before that. I wouldn't take him at 3. Like if you get the 3rd pick or the 6th pick, I wouldn't use either of those picks to take him.
No.
So
yeah.
I think it just depends on kind of, do you feel like you're overdrafting a guy? And listen, everything's an overdraft until somebody can play. So with his talent, I think he can play. At the 11th overall pick, I don't think we'd be looking back on this going, wow, this sucks that we got this guy.
No, I mean, the thing is, like, it brings about questions now because of the roster construction. But if you're looking at just the talent, no, the talent level, it makes sense there. He could potentially play next to Kobe or Ayo Dosunmu as well. He has the ability to stretch the floor out. He's a lockdown defender. I think you've even mentioned maybe in the long run seeing Kobe play more off ball guard than point guard. So maybe the Bulls are looking at that as well in this. So it makes some sense for the Bulls. The biggest reasons why there's question marks around, especially making a promise, is because of the fluidity of this draft, the fact that the player at number 8 and the player at number 22, there's like there's a very small gap between the overall potential level between those players, right? But I mean, other than that, like just looking at the player themselves, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being one of the better players to come out of this draft. I wouldn't be surprised at that at all.
It's I feel like we're thinking too hard on this, dog. We've completely missed the obvious answer here. He's Javon Carter's replacement.
I mean, you could be Javon Carter's replacement.
3 and D, bro. Yeah, I mean, listen, 3 and D.
That's the thing. I don't even think he's he needs to embrace being bald like Javon, because like to be 22 with that hairline is crazy, bro. That's crazy, bro. It is
kind of nuts, bro.
Bro, he coming in with the Derek White plus, bro. Like it's bad, bro. Like
it's the fact that there's options, right? Like you can see him with his hair down, and it's like, that's not the answer. And then like you see it tied back, and you're like, that's not the answer either.
There is no answer to it because you're trying to, like, don't get me wrong, he has a lot of hair, right? But the front, it's gone, bro. Like you gotta at some point let it go, bro.
It's gone.
It's gone, bro. You
What
gotta let
happened
it go.
to it, bro? It's not good, bro. It's not good. Like, listen, but he gonna be, well, all right, maybe I'm intrigued. Are we getting Derek White here? Because I'm getting Derek White vibes on this hair.
That's what I'm saying. I would not be surprised if Devin Carter turns into somewhere between Derek White and Jalen Brunson. Wouldn't be surprised at it at all.
That's a heck of a midpoint. My God, Derek White's his floor. Jalen Brunson is the ceiling. Yeah, okay, take him 3. I'm convinced. Take him 3rd over. Derek White's the floor. Like, let's go,
bro. I'm telling you, like, we'll see, man. We'll end up seeing, man. But something that could also play a part in that as well is this next topic that we're going to be talking about. In the Thunder could be interested in trading for Patrick Williams if the Chicago Bulls do make him available. But before we talk about that, got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money line, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. By the way, the NBA Finals are starting here soon. They got the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. So, guys, you can bet on that. That's shaped up to be a really big series as well. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Again, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make every playoff shot count. All right, Pat. So this also came from Darnell Mayberry, in which the OKC Thunder, if the Chicago Bulls do make Patrick Williams available, a la Laurie marketing, and try to work out a sign and trade rather than go through restricted free agency, the OKC Thunder are interested in Patrick Williams. Now, the thing that could make this intriguing is we, like me and you've talked about many times, the OKC Thunder sit in a place where they are going to have more draft picks coming in than open roster spots available. And they have a lot of young talent that, you know, maybe they're thinking Patrick Williams fits the timeline. They won't necessarily worry about his offense like the Chicago Bulls kind of need from him. If this does become something to where the Bulls look at the Patrick Williams situation, the pending contract, the negotiations maybe don't go the way that the Bulls want, which we heard last week that the Bulls would be willing to offer 4 years, $50 million, and he wants more than that. What do you think about working out a deal with the OKC Thunder?
I mean, listen, I wouldn't be opposed to it at this point. I'm not convinced on the Patrick Williams experiment. I think that Pat has all the talent in the world. I just don't believe that he has the right mindset to go out there and execute that talent. And I don't know if years in the league changes that. The one thing that everybody talks about Kobe White, and, you know, kind of how he developed, and it took time for him to get there. Kobe White came to the league shooting. He first day, like, shot, like, was a score. Wasn't efficient, but literally walked into the league and was like, I'm going to try and put up as many points as I possibly can. Didn't he have a 33-point game his rookie year, him and Zach? Like, wasn't that a 33 and a 35-point game or something like that?
Yeah, wasn't it like was it his first start too? I know he had a big game his first start. I don't know if that
first
was
start, yeah, because who's the head coach of UNC?
No.
Why can't I think of the head coach of UNC? I don't even think he's the head coach there no more.
Probably not.
I can't think of his name. Y'all know who I'm talking about, basketball legend. But it's late. Freaking Roy, come on.
Roy Williams, right?
Roy Williams, thank you. Okay, all right, there it is. I got half
said to myself because I'm like, no, Pat will remember Roy Williams, so it's probably not Roy Williams.
Did you say Roy Williams? Yo might be doing that cutout thing and then it come back. So I heard like, like that was it. But no, I know he had a big game. The first game Roy Williams came to see him and he cooked all that. But my point in all of this is Pat Williams hasn't done that. He's had big games, but like he didn't come into the league shooting. He came into the league saying, whatever y'all need me to do, I'm going to do, which is perfect for where the Thunder are at right now, because you need a player who, whatever y'all need me to do, I'm going to go out there and do. Now,
Pat, wait, hold on. We got to stop. We got to talk about something serious here, brother. You're letting your Caucasian side come out a little too much, bro.
What?
With the way you've been dressing lately, bro. You got on a black Bears shirt with a blue Bears hat. Why?
Because it was next to me.
What? Come on, Pat. Come on, do better, bro.
Because it was next to me, dog. I'm not. Hey, listen,
do better.
I ain't worried about nothing. Hey, you're the merch guy. You're the big merch guy.
We're not even talking about merch. We're just talking about matching. Coordinate. That's what we're talking about.
I don't know if you know this, but black and blue match, dog. On the shirt, there's black and blue.
That's a different blue.
It's I don't know if you know this. This Bears logo right here is the same blue as these colors right
But
here.
look at the blue and never mind. It's your lost cause, bro.
You
Your lost cause.
Hey man,
The first thing after hiring an editor, the first thing you need to do after you make it big, get a stylist.
Bro, I just don't care. I never have, bro. Like I got clothes on, dog. You know what I mean? Like I'm not out here trying to be the best dressed. Yeah, I mean, the designer part is about designing life, bro. I got my first pair of Jordans a year ago. You know what I'm saying? I could care less about all that stuff, bro. I'm blue collar till I die, bro. You lucky the shirt's clean right now. I'm in the basement, folks. You know what I mean?
Go ahead, Pat. Keep cooking.
I don't even know what I was saying. P. Will, whatever it is. No, get rid of this bum self.
Let me ask you this. All right, let's say that we do the trade with the OKC Thunder. Whatever we get back, I don't know what. Like, listen, if you can get Lou Dort back in the Patrick Williams trade, I'm not mad at it off the rip.
Listen, if they send us back a half dead dog and a bullet to put it down, would I be happy at this point?
But what if he then blossoms in the OKC Thunder? How are you looking at that then? That's where I was getting at.
I mean, if he blossoms with the Thunder, that means that we know what we already knew, that the organization is not as good at developing players and that Billy Donovan doesn't put players in a position to succeed. We got 4 players on the roster we can say that about right now. like it doesn't change anything.
No, I mean, you're not wrong.
It doesn't switch anything for me. Like this team is what it is.
I think the thing more so is that it just continues to put a highlight on the fact that it's not even necessarily the Bulls. If this happens, this is a big what if scenario, right? But if Patrick Williams does go somewhere else and he does end up blossoming, it's like the fact that you guys can actually draft the right talent, but you can't develop that in some ways is worse. I'd almost rather you not be able to draft and develop the most you can out of them than it'd be like, hey, you guys actually got a pretty decent eye for talent, but you can't develop them worth crap, and they have to go somewhere else to actually blossom into the rose. It's like, well, Jesus Christ.
I think the funny part is, right, to me, at the end of the day, all of these dudes are talented. It's just about situation and position that you can put them in. There's some dudes that do come in and they're actually bad at basketball, but how many times have we seen some guy be on one team and he basically does nothing, and then he goes to another team and it's like, wait a minute, this dude could play the entire time? Yeah. Like I literally always said Shea could play, but there was 7 point guards ahead of him when he was with the Clippers. Like, he was never going to get time. Every time Shea got on the court, though, it was like, hey, this dude might, like, be the best point guard on y'all team, but, like, you got Chris Paul, so he ain't the best point guard right now. But long-term, he might be the best point guard you got on your team. But you never got a chance to see it because you were so worried about, we got to get this in here, we got to change this, we got to make this change. Go ahead and give him away. Now he's one of the best players in the NBA. So I think that OKC develop him? Yeah, because there'll be opportunity there. There'll be more room for him. If he's coming off of the bench, guess what? He walks in day one and it's like, yeah, your role is not going to change. Your role is going to be, you need to go get me some great defense off of the bench and give me 10 points. Guess what Patrick Williams can do? He can get you great defense off the bench and give you 10 points. You're not asking them to do too much. Your expectation is set. And OKC comes in with no, to me, no, the 4th overall pick and all that. None of that matters to them. It only matters while he's here in Chicago. So if we were to trade him, like, I don't even know what you're trading him for. What's $10 million over there? Who's the player that we getting back? Like, we getting like 3 end of the bench players or something like that just to make some money work.
It depends on what they. You never know with the Thunder, right? That's why I say, like, Isaiah Joe could be a player that they throw in there. And they're going to lead the league in Williams. They're going to have Jalen Williams, Kendrick Williams, Patrick Williams as this trade goes down.
What a dog. I just hope there's one day a lineup that includes all 4 of them if this does happen.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be phenomenal.
Theoretically, that could happen.
Williams to Williams, because you can't even go first names. You can't go Jalen to Jalen. Williams to Williams, kicks it over to Williams. Williams back to Williams for 3.
That would be hilarious.
That would be great. Before we get to this final topic, talking about how we're going to continue to be in basketball hell, we have to tell you guys all about BetterHelp. As you can tell, I am stressed talking about this team, and that's where BetterHelp comes in. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp, and sometimes you just need to get things off of your chest. We all carry around different stressors, big and small. When we keep them bottled up, it can start to affect us negatively. Therapy, of course, though, is a safe place to get things off your chest and figure out how to work through whatever you're going through. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA.
All right, Pat.
Get it off your chest. Also, what Meek said.
Get up!
Get up!
Get up!
Why? Why? Though? Why? Why was that the? That was the wildest thing ever done. Get up,
bro. It's been a wild spring, summer already, bro. Like, this is crazy, man. That J. Cole Grippy verse was absolutely terrible, by the way. Like,
hey, man, I keep seeing that. Like, why J. Cole can't just have fun with music? Like,
no, it's fine.
Have fun. The deepest track of all time. Every time
it's just like him and then Drake with that song that dropped today too. It's like, I'm all for just having.
Yo, that's bad.
Bro, that was bad. They said the old boy was throwing up gang signs verbally on the track.
That track was horrible, bro. I heard that. I was like, I literally, today was the day where I was like, did Kendrick cause Drake to fall off? Like, is that like, is the fall off of Drake finally happening? He's had a heck of a run, bro. Like, he's had a phenomenal run in music.
That's crazy, bro. Well, we do got news to talk about. This one also comes from Darnell Mayberry that apparently Marc Eversley has signed a 3-year extension with the Chicago Bulls. Now, the reason why this is interesting is that Marc Eversley has been interviewed, and I guess this extension wouldn't theoretically stop him if he does interview for a president of basketball operations job and ends up getting it, because it's still a step up. He can still leave the Bulls. But he signed a new 3-year contract extension reportedly by the Chicago Bulls. This hasn't been officially announced, but again, we technically still haven't been officially announced that Billy Donovan signed a 2-year contract extension. We just know because, the Kentucky talk. But what do you think about Marc Eversley staying on for another 3 years there, Pat?
Sounds like DeMar DeRozan is going to be here next season. We're not trading Zach LaVine. And we're really going to wait for Lonzo Ball to step back on the basketball court. Now listen, I'm not one to sit here and say that Marc Eversley is the root of the problem, but he's a part of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, everybody's a part of the problem.
Yeah. I mean, and so I think when I look at the fact that we're rewarding people for the 9th seed, that it really tells you where the Bulls are. I was looking at that New York Times article where it's talking about 10 of the biggest questions the Chicago Bulls have to look at. And the number one question was, do the Bulls care about winning or the bottom line? Every move says the bottom line. There's not a single offseason move the Bulls have made in the last 3 years that says anything outside of the bottom line. So when I hear that we've re-signed Marc Eversley, of course we're re-signing Marc Eversley. You know why? The stadium's full. They're not going to fire somebody if they're making money. That's just too.
Well, my thing is too is that if Marc Eversley was extended 3 years, because there's no way in hell that a president of basketball operations would extend a GM's contract longer than they're here. How long? Like, because we heard that AK signed a contract extension last year. We don't know the number on that either. Did AK re-sign a 5-year contract? Is that what happened? Is that what happened here? Because he's not. There's no way that he extends a GM and a coach longer than the time he's here. There's just no way of that.
Are they? I mean, at this point, the question for me is, are they? Because I think this kills the Billy Donovan moving up in the front office conversation. Are they extending them to add a new coach, or is this just going to be Billy's going to be here for the remainder of time and they all have to roll out together? Because essentially this would put Marc on the same path with Billy.
Well, give him a year longer than Billy.
Would it? I thought Billy got a 3-year. He's on.
No, Billy got a 2-year contract extension.
Billy got a 2-year extension.
Billy got
and Marc got extension. A 2.
And Marc got a 3. Marc got a 3.
Oh, Marc got a 3. Billy got yeah. I don't know, bro. It's the same team. Like it's re-signing Marc Eversley was the gut punch I needed to like just not care about Bulls basketball in the slightest until it comes back. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. And nothing says we're running it back more than we're gonna pay somebody that's just here.
Or it could be, and I'm not saying that I disagree with you, but I'm just gonna offer a different perspective for the nature of the conversation. Or maybe this does say that they are gonna make some significant changes and you're giving him 3 years to see those changes through, just to offer a different perspective. I get where you're coming. This is the Chicago Bulls. The most likely scenario is running it back. I want to be clear here, but there is something to be said of, okay, we're going to start trying to correct this ship. This is your 3 years to do it.
I mean, that would be great, but the problem is in the first year of that, you have no money to correct anything unless you just
Well, that, and I actually did an episode over on Chicago Bulls Central about this, that Bulls having no money is actually false. They only don't have money if they're married to keeping DeMar. If they let DeMar, for example, the Bulls could have $46 million below the luxury tax this year. So it depends. Like, so when you hear things like Zach LaVine trade is a priority, maybe they're looking to move Patrick Williams. If they do that, which again, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, you know, I err on the side of pessimism with this front office, but there is something to be said that the talk around the Bulls being up so close to the luxury tax is really only if they want to run this back. If they do decide to let, like DeMar walk, trade, if they let DeMar walk and trade Zach LaVine and don't take back full money for Zach LaVine, we're actually talking about the Bulls having some considerable space to do some things.
But the problem is the first thing that we heard as the season ended is we're going to try and re-sign DeMar DeRozan.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I agree with you.
I get what you're saying.
If we let DeMar walk, yes, it's a whole different situation. Maybe we lose him for nothing, but you got money back on the books. But everything that we've heard about the DeMar DeRozan situation has literally been, we got to find a way to re-sign this guy. Which again goes to the Marc Eversley.
Not that we got to find a way that they would like to re-sign him, but it could be that they made their best offer and saying 2 years, $40 million per. What you got?
Listen,
I'm just listen, because I agree with you. We gotta have a show here, so I'm trying to cover all angles.
No. Like, I hear you. I'm just saying that's the best offer DeMar's gonna get. So unless DeMar just wants to go, I'm gonna just go take $6 million and actually try to win. Where's he going? Like, I got $80 million on the table for 2 years. The fact that you sat there and you're willing to say, what LeBron said, here's 2 more for you. The fact that you're willing to do that at $40 million a year, that tells me the mindset of this basketball team. The Marc Eversley thing just continues you down that path. Now, I don't know if that was the offer, that was the rumored offer, that was the supposed offer, but if that,
we also don't know when that offer was made. That offer could have been made before the front office looked at this and said, we need to make some changes here.
That's true. So, the timeline around this offer could have been it could have been beginning of the season, middle of the season, end of the season, whatever it is. But I feel like as bad as things are in the mediocre pool right now, that all of the decisions are the bottom line, the dollar decision, the money decision. And that's when, I mean, listen, I'm a watch, I'm a cheer, I'm a root, I'm a go to games, I'm gonna do all the stuff. But that's when you lose me as a fan. And it's why they've lost so many fans over the years. It's why we're basically 10 years away from the last time we were actually a competitive basketball team. Yep. Like that's what puts you in these positions, and they're gonna get left behind, and not gonna get, they're left behind. They're running the organization like it's 1986, and they've got.
Yeah, there was somebody who tried to make a conversation over on Central. It was like the Bulls aren't that far off from the Knicks and the Celtics, and I was like,
"You're at least 21 games off."
I'm like, again, don't get me wrong. I hate the Knicks too, but you got to be realistic about where they are right now. Yeah. They are so far ahead of where the Bulls are. It's ridiculous. Like.
And that's the problem. But it starts with the play on the court. It starts with the standard that you set on the court. Tom Thibodeau is not going to let a subpar standard happen. The Bulls were, and it really does go back to that. We got to do that episode where we like break down like the downfall of the Bulls. To me, it starts with that. The report that, and it's been validated by Joe Keem and Tom Thibodeau, that they knew that they would not, that they couldn't fire Tom Thibodeau and it'd be okay with the fan base, basically, unless the players turned on him. So they just fed Joe false information to make him hate Tom, to get him off the team. That's your take. That's why this started. We don't like
that. The funny thing is that it's so systemic in the fact that we're talking about we've moved on from coaches, presidents, and GMs since then. And we're still in the same spot. Nothing's changed. Nothing has gone away. Nothing is going differently. In fact, we've kind of gone in the other direction. I guess like it sucked losing all of the games, and I hated that we tanked, but we had the 7th pick. I guess we won 15 more games, and now we got the 11th pick. And just the thing about that, we moved on from Tom Thibodeau to bring in Gar's boy, Fred Hoiberg, who then lasted, 3 years with the Chicago Bulls?
Yeah, Hoiberg lasted longer than I thought. It was like 3.5 seasons.
Hoiberg lasted 3 years.
By the way, we're now hearing the stories about how Jimmy hated him.
Yeah, but that's what I was about to get into. And then in that time period, too, they had Jimmy Butler and said, listen, we don't know how to build around this guy.
So and by the way, just so we understand this, you let Tom Thibodeau go. He was in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. He's been in the playoffs almost every year since you let him go. Maybe a couple years there.
The first 2 years with Minnesota, I think.
Yeah, he wasn't in there, but he's been there been in the playoffs almost every year since you've let him go, outside of maybe a couple of pop-up years here. Then you said, well, we can't deal with a player as controversial as Jimmy Butler, which the controversy was just like, I'm gonna speak my mind because
I want to win. That's the controversy. I want to win, and I want to hold this. I want to have that standard to the way that we operate here, even in practice.
So you let that guy go. He's gone on to be in the second round of the Western Conference playoffs, 2 ECFs, 3 ECFs, 2 NBA Finals. Like that is this team. This team doesn't want. They want everything to be kumbaya and everything to run smoothly and it to be just the smoothest gears. And sometimes you have to work through the issues that make things look smooth. You think there's nothing going on in the Bears front office where there's not some conflict or some friction?
No, every day.
But it looks smooth because freaking
they had a 3-day meeting on whether to keep Matt Eberflus. There's definitely things that they don't all agree on, but they still move and operate. Once they make the decision, they operate as a unit like you're supposed to and see that decision out. Like
the Warriors had to deal with Draymond for 7 years and they found a way to win 4 titles. More than 7 years. I don't know. What's Draymond on? Draymond career long at this point.
Draymond's a lot longer than 7 years at this point, bro. Draymond been around for a minute, man.
By the way, we can go back to that too. When they
passed out. Well, because Tom Thibodeau wanted Draymond Green, and they literally looked at him and was like, no.
Yeah. So because Tom Thibodeau wanted another controversial player or somebody who would be a little bit more abrasive. Oh, by the way, Bobby Portis, probably a player that's a little bit abrasive.
Could you imagine? We could have had a team with Jimmy Butler, Bobby Portis, and Draymond Green. Who would have threw the first punch in practice?
Jimmy. They said Jimmy cut out the center of his jersey and said, "Y'all better pay me," and like cut the Timberwolves like that. Jimmy nuts. Like Draymond. It took him a while to get to like. We gotta get up out of here. But I fully believe Draymond is as bad as he is with punching people and stuff right now because the talent level is just falling off, and we're just not used to seeing that in the modern era of basketball. That used to happen all the time. Chuck used to do that.
It is, man. It's crazy out here, bro.
Hey, man,
any last thoughts before we get up out of here?
Follow me on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate y'all tuning in and showing love.
Absolutely. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize, man. We thank you guys for tuning in. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls, man. We out of here.
Peace,
y'all.